standing at the edge of a vast, unexplored ocean, staring into the infinite horizon. The water stretches endlessly before you, dark and mysterious, as if daring you to take that first step into the unknown. Your heart pounds, your hands tremble, because deep down, you know this journey will either make you or break you, and that's precisely why you must take it. The world has always belonged to the dreamers who dared to think so big, so impossibly vast, that the mere mention of their ambition sent shivers down the spines of those around them. The ones who spoke of their visions and were met with laughter, ridicule, doubt, not because they were wrong, but because their dreams were so colossal, so beyond comprehension, that small minds simply couldn't grasp their scale. Think of the Wright brothers, two bicycle mechanics with no formal engineering degrees who believed humans could fly. The world mocked them, scientists dismissed them, but they saw something no one else could. A future where gravity was no longer a chain, but a challenge to be conquered. And so despite the doubters, despite the failures, they built, they tested, they crashed, and then they soared. Every great visionary has faced the same crucible. They, for example, John Christina Houseman. When Thomas Edison set out to harness electricity to create the light bulb, he failed over 0 times. When Elon Musk proclaimed he would send rockets to Mars, critics labeled him delusional. When J.K. Rowling shared her manuscript of A Boy Wizard with publishers, she was rejected by 12 different houses. The world's most powerful ideas are often met with the fiercest resistance, not because they lack merit, but because they terrify people who have grown comfortable with the ordinary. And that's the paradox of dreaming big. The very thing that makes your vision so special is also what makes it so threatening to those who can't see beyond their own limitations. But here's the truth. If your dreams don't make people uncomfortable, if they don't stir doubt, fear, or even envy, then they aren't big enough. The size of your dreams should rattle the world. They should be so ambitious that they sound almost absurd, because that is the only way to shatter the boundaries of what is deemed possible. Look at history, at the ones who defied the odds. Steve Jobs envisioned a world where technology wasn't just functional but beautiful, where a computer could be more than a machine. It could be an extension of the human soul. People called him unrealistic, impossible to work with, too obsessed with perfection. Yet today we carry his vision in our pockets, touch it with our fingertips, and use it to change the world. But the moment you decide to dream on that scale, you must be prepared for the cost. Because the price of dreaming big isn't paid in money. It's paid in solitude, in sleepless nights, in relentless self-doubt, in standing alone when the world turns its back on you. It's paid in the moments when you begin to question whether the dream is worth it, whether the vision was just a foolish fantasy. And that's when you must remember, every revolution begins with one person crazy enough to believe that something different, something better is possible. There will be people who try to pull you down, not because they truly doubt you, but because your courage reminds them of their own fears. There will be moments when failure feels like a permanent state, when rejection makes you question your very worth. But you cannot afford to let their fear become yours. Because while they mock, while they doubt, while they remain shackled to their limited thinking, you are building something greater than their understanding. Michelangelo once said, "The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it." Too many people play small because it's safe, because it's easier to conform than to stand out, because they fear judgment more than mediocrity. But mediocrity is a slow death. It is a life spent caged by invisible walls, a lifetime of what-ifs and regrets. You were not born to be small. You were not given this one miraculous life just to blend into the background. You were meant to carve your name into the fabric of history, to leave behind something so extraordinary that the world remembers you long after you are gone. But that will never happen if you shrink your dreams to fit the comfort zones of others. So dream big. Dream so outrageously, so unapologetically that people call you insane. Let them laugh, let them doubt, because one day, when you stand atop the mountain they swore was impossible to climb, when you soar through the skies they believed were unreachable, they will have no choice but to look up and wonder why they never dared to dream that big themselves. And that's how you win. Not by seeking their approval, not by waiting for permission, but by making your vision so undeniable, so awe-inspiring, that the very people who once doubted you have no choice but to believe. Every great dream demands sacrifice. The higher the peak, the steeper the climb. And the truth is, most people will turn back the moment the path gets too rugged, too uncertain, too lonely. They will retreat to the comfort of the known, the safety of the ordinary. But you're different. You feel that fire inside you, that insatiable hunger to chase something greater, to push beyond what others call possible. And that hunger comes at a cost. Look at history, at those who achieved the impossible. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, locked away for daring to believe in a world without racial oppression. He walked into that darkness alone, armed with nothing but his convictions. And when he emerged, he didn't just reclaim his freedom, he reshaped a nation. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, abused, told she would never amount to anything, but she refused to be defined by her circumstances. She transformed her pain into power, her suffering into strength, and became one of the most influential voices in the world. The moment you commit to something larger than yourself, the universe will test you. It will ask you how much you truly want it. You will face rejection, failure, heartbreak. You will be ridiculed, misunderstood, even betrayed. And in those moments, when everything inside you screams to give up, you must ask yourself, do you want this badly enough to keep going when every reason tells you to stop? Because that's where most people fall. They love the idea of success, of impact, of greatness, but they aren't willing to endure the struggle that comes with it. They want the glory without the grind, the rewards without the risks. But that's not how dreams work. The universe does not hand out greatness freely. It demands proof of your resilience, your dedication, your unbreakable will. When Elon Musk was on the verge of losing everything, when his rockets failed repeatedly and Tesla was hanging by a thread, he had every reason to walk away. But he didn't. He poured in everything, his last dollar, his last ounce of belief, and he made history. When Malala Yousafzai was shot for daring to demand education for girls, she could have retreated into silence. Instead, she spoke louder, and the world listened. The road to your dream will be paved with moments that test your soul. It will break you, strip you down to your rawest form, force you to confront your deepest fears, but it will also build you, shape you into the person capable of carrying the weight of that dream. Because the dream itself is never the reward. It's the person you become in pursuit of it. So when you feel like giving up, when the burden feels unbearable, remember this. Every great story, every legendary figure, every world-changing idea has been met with resistance. And the only ones who make it to the end are the ones who refuse to stop. Keep going, keep fighting, keep believing, because one day, when you stand at the summit of everything they said you couldn't achieve, you'll realize every sacrifice, every setback, every sleepless night was worth it. And then you'll look back, not just as someone who dreamed, but as someone who dared to make it real. There comes a moment in every journey when you stand at a crossroads, exhausted and uncertain. You've pushed beyond limits you once thought unbreakable, endured hardships that have tested the very essence of who you are. And yet, the mountain before you remains tall, unyielding. This is the moment that separates the dreamers from the doers, the ones who surrender from the ones who rise. Many turn back, convincing themselves they've done enough, that perhaps they aim too high. They retreat into the comfort of mediocrity, weaving justifications around their surrender. But those who truly understand the nature of greatness know that this is precisely the point where they must push harder. Because beyond this breaking point lies transformation. the threshold where an ordinary individual is forged into something unstoppable. Think of the legends who refused to quit. Abraham Lincoln, who faced countless failures, business collapses, political defeats, personal tragedies before becoming one of the most revered leaders in history. He could have stopped at any point, accepting what seemed like inevitable failure. But he didn't. He pushed forward, knowing that purpose is greater than momentary pain. The same fire burned in Michael Jordan when he was cut from his high school basketball team. He could have given up, convinced himself he wasn't meant for greatness. Instead, he let that rejection fuel him, training relentlessly until he became a 6-time NBA champion, redefining the very nature of the game. Every time you think you've reached your limit, you are only scratching the surface of what you are truly capable of. Pain is temporary, fatigue is temporary, doubt is temporary, but the legacy you build by refusing to surrender, that is permanent. The reason so few people achieve greatness isn't because they lack talent or resources, it's because they lack the resilience to keep going when the weight of their dreams feels unbearable. But here's the secret. The weight itself is what makes you stronger. Every challenge, every setback, every sleepless night is sharpening you, carving you into the person who is worthy of the destiny you are chasing. You must be relentless. You must stand when others fall. You must believe when others doubt. You must see opportunity where others see obstacles. The ones who win are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who refuse to break when everything seemed lost. So here you are, standing at the edge of your breaking point. The question is simple. Will you turn back, or will you step forward into the fire, knowing that on the other side lies everything you have ever fought for? There is a point in every pursuit where the world grows silent. The applause fades, the encouragement dwindles, and you are left alone with nothing but your own belief. This is the loneliest part of the journey, the stretch of road where most turn back, convinced that perhaps they were never meant to walk this path in the first place. But this, right here, is the defining moment. Because those who continue, those who walk through the solitude with unwavering faith, are the ones who emerge on the other side transformed. Greatness is not built in moments of ease, nor is it sustained by external validation. The most powerful individuals in history did not wait for permission to chase what set their souls on fire. They moved forward even when no one else could see what they saw. Vincent van Gogh painted masterpieces in obscurity, ridiculed and dismissed. Yet he continued because the fire inside him burned brighter than the indifference around him. Marie Curie pursued her research when the scientific community doubted her, changing the world through sheer persistence and an unrelenting hunger for discovery. You must become immune to doubt, not just the doubt of others, but the doubt that creeps into your own mind in the dead of night. It will whisper that your efforts are futile, that your vision is too big, that you are foolish to believe in something no one else does. But that is the price of doing something remarkable. If it were easy, if it were obvious, if it were universally accepted, then it wouldn't be worth fighting for. The hardest battles are not fought in the external world, but within your own mind. And the only way to win is to keep moving forward. One step at a time, one more hour of effort, one more attempt when everything inside you says to quit. Success is not reserved for the talented or the lucky. It is claimed by those who refuse to stop. So when you find yourself standing in that silence, when you feel the weight of uncertainty pressing down on you, remember this. The silence is not a sign of failure, it is the proving ground. It is the moment where you decide whether you will break or whether you will push through and make the world listen. Keep going. The noise will return. The world will take notice. And when they finally see what you have seen all along, they will call you an overnight success, never understanding the years of solitude and sacrifice it took to get there. There is a moment when the exhaustion becomes unbearable, when doubt no longer whispers but shouts, and the weight of the dream you carry feels too heavy to bear. This is the moment that breaks most people. The moment where their faith crumbles, where they start to question if the struggle is even worth it. But this is also the moment where the few who refuse to give up separate themselves from the rest of the world. This is where champions are made. The truth about achieving something extraordinary is that it demands everything from you. It demands your time, your energy, your resilience, and most of all, your belief when no evidence around you suggests success is coming. It's easy to keep going when the momentum is on your side, when the victories are stacking up, when the world applauds your progress. But what about when everything seems stagnant? What about when every step forward feels like dragging a mountain behind you? This is when most people falter, not because they lack talent, but because they lack endurance. Think of every great innovator, every pioneer, every individual who shattered the limits of what was possible. They did not have an easy road. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years before he saw the change he fought for. Howard Schultz was turned down by over 200 investors before Starbucks became a household name. Sylvester Stallone was rejected hundreds of times and lived in his car before he turned Rocky into a phenomenon. The greatest stories in history are not of those who never faced hardship, but of those who refused to surrender when hardship seemed endless. The truth is, pain is inevitable. Struggle is guaranteed. But suffering, that is a choice. The people who win are the ones who decide that no matter how painful, no matter how lonely, no matter how uncertain the journey becomes, they will not stop. Because they understand that everything they are going through is shaping them into the person capable of achieving their vision. And here is the paradox. The closer you get to success, the harder the test becomes. Right before the breakthrough, right before everything changes, you will be met with the most brutal resistance. This is the universe's way of asking, how badly do you want it? Are you willing to endure the darkness, knowing the dawn is near? Most people say no, but those who say yes, those who push forward, bleeding, exhausted, but unwavering, are the ones who make history. You cannot control when success comes, but you can control whether you are still standing when it does. And when it finally arrives, when the years of struggle turn into triumph, when the world finally sees what you saw all along, they will call you lucky. They will say it was overnight. They will never understand the nights you spent battling your own mind, the sacrifices you made, the moments when you doubted everything but kept going anyway. But you will know. You will know the battles you fought, the storms you weathered, and the fire you carried through the darkest nights. And when you stand atop your mountain, victorious, looking back at the road behind you, you will realize it was never about the dream itself. It was about the person you became in the process of chasing it. So don't stop. Don't let go. Because you are closer than you think. And the world is waiting for you to prove them wrong. The world is designed to break those who dream too big. It throws obstacles in your path, fills your mind with doubt, and places voices around you that say, be realistic. But the ones who truly change the world are the ones who refuse to listen. They see beyond the horizon, beyond what exists, and dare to chase what others call impossible. This is the final test of your endurance. You have already walked through the fire, faced the loneliness, endured the rejection, and yet there is still one more mountain ahead. This is the point where many give in, where the exhaustion feels permanent, where the dream starts to blur. But this is also where champions dig deeper. Look at the moments before the greatest victories in history. Thomas Edison's light bulb didn't work on the first attempt, or the 100th. It took thousands of failures before the world finally saw the invention that would illuminate the future. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter became a cultural phenomenon. The Wright brothers faced mockery, disbelief, and constant setbacks before the world finally witnessed flight. What if they had stopped? What if they had listened to the voices telling them it was impossible? The world would have been robbed of some of its greatest innovations, stories, and progress. And the same applies to you. If you stop now, you will never know what was waiting for you just beyond this final stretch. The last chapter of every great success story is the hardest. It demands more than you think you have left to give. It took the hardest. It will ask you to sacrifice, to endure, to rise when you have nothing left. And this is why so few make it. Because they see the storm and they turn back, never realizing they were one step away from the breakthrough. Your journey has led you here to this exact moment because you were meant to be tested. You were meant to see if you are truly ready for the success you dream of. The universe does not reward the weak-hearted. It rewards the relentless, the unbreakable, the ones who will not stop no matter the odds. So ask yourself, how badly do you want this? Are you willing to take one more step, to fight one more battle, to believe for one more day? Because the difference between those who win and those who give up is not talent. It's not luck. It's the refusal to surrender. This is your moment. The world may not see it yet, but you do. Keep going, keep pushing, and when you finally arrive, when you finally claim what you have fought so long for, the world will look at you in awe and wonder how you did it. And you will smile, knowing that while they doubted, while they hesitated, while they gave up, you kept going. The final stretch is the most deceptive. It is where exhaustion grips tighter, where setbacks seem personal, and where the doubt that once whispered now roars. This is where dreams are lost, not because they are impossible, but because the ones chasing them decide they've had enough. The world has seen too many unfinished stories, too many visions abandoned just steps before the breakthrough. But your story will not be one of them. You have come too far. You have sacrificed too much. The nights of struggle, the years of effort, the moments where you fought battles no one saw, it was all leading to this moment. And now the universe asks you one last time, do you have what it takes to finish? History remembers the finishers, the ones who stood in the face of every reason to quit and decided to go one step further. Consider Colonel Sanders, who was rejected over 1,000 times before KFC became a global brand. Consider Walt Disney, whose ideas were dismissed as unrealistic, only to go on to build an empire that reshaped entertainment. They didn't have an easier path than you. They had a relentless refusal to stop. The difference between those who make it and those who don't is often just a single step, a single decision to keep going when it feels like there's nothing left. Success is not built on comfort. It is not born in moments of ease. It is crafted in the depths of adversity, molded in the fire of perseverance, and earned by those who refuse to surrender. You have already endured more than most ever will. You have pushed when others stopped. You have believed when the world doubted. And now you stand at the edge of everything you have ever worked for. The only thing left to do is take that last step, to push forward when everything tells you to stop, to believe in yourself when no one else does, to finish what you started. Because when you do, when you finally stand at the top and look back at the road you traveled, you will understand it was never just about the goal. It was about who you became along the way. And that person, the one who refused to quit, the one who overcame every obstacle, is unstoppable. So take a breath, dig deep, and step forward. The world is waiting for you to finish what you started. The final chapter of any journey is not marked by ease. It is marked by the greatest tests, the heaviest burdens, and the loudest voices telling you to stop. But if you have made it this far, if you have endured the storms and continued despite every reason to turn back, then you are closer than you think. Closer to victory, closer to fulfillment, closer to proving to yourself that every sacrifice was worth it. Look around you, the ones who doubted you, the ones who dismissed your dreams as fantasies, they are watching. Some are waiting for you to stumble to confirm their belief that you were never meant to win. But others, perhaps the silent ones, are watching with hope, inspired by your resilience, believing in the possibility that if you can do it, maybe they can too. Your journey is not just about you. It is about the impact you leave behind, the permission you give others to dream beyond their limitations. Every great story is defined by a climax, a moment when all the struggle, all the effort, all the heartache is tested against the final trial. This is that moment. The mountain is steep, the air is thin, and the fatigue is real. But this is also where champions are born. This is where legends make the decision to either collapse under the weight of their trials or rise with the power of every lesson they have learned. The greatest enemy at this stage is not the external world. It is the voice inside your mind that tells you, it's enough. You've done more than most. You don't need to keep going. But you must silence that voice. You must remind yourself why you started, what you have fought for, what it will mean to cross the finish line knowing you gave it everything. Think of those who walked this path before you. Oprah Winfrey, told she wasn't fit for television. Stephen King, whose first novel was rejected dozens of times before becoming a classic. Henry Ford, who went bankrupt multiple times before revolutionizing the automobile industry. They all faced this moment. The moment where stopping was the easier choice, but they chose differently. They chose to push beyond what seemed possible, and in doing so, they left behind a legacy that still inspires generations. And now it is your turn. The only thing that stands between you and everything you have ever dreamed of is your ability to take this last step. No more hesitation, no more second guessing, no more waiting for permission to claim what is yours. The world does not reward those who almost made it. It rewards those who refuse to be denied. It celebrates those who push past the breaking point, who refuse to let failure be their final chapter. The last test, the final mile, the moment where you decide who you truly are. Take the step, push forward, and finish what you started. Because when you do, the world will never be the same again. You have reached the summit. The road behind you is long, scarred with the battles you fought, the nights you almost gave up, and the moments that tested every fiber of your being. But you endured, you persisted. And now, standing here, looking down at everything you have overcome, you realize a truth that only those who finish the journey ever understand. It was never just about the destination. It was about becoming the person who could reach it. Victory is not an external reward. It is the internal transformation that occurs when you refuse to quit. The person who started this journey is not the same person standing here today. You are stronger, wiser, and unbreakable in ways you never imagined. The pain, the failures, the doubts, they were never barriers. They were stepping stones. Without them, you would not have grown into the person capable of standing where you are now. Look back at the moments that once made you question everything. The nights when the weight of your dream felt unbearable. The times when rejection stung so deeply you wondered if you were foolish for even trying. Now, from this vantage point, you see them differently. They were not signs to stop. They were invitations to rise. Every challenge, every setback was molding you, sharpening your edges, forcing you to discover your resilience. And now, standing victorious, you realize another truth. This is not the end. There is no final chapter in the life of someone who dreams. The summit you once thought was the ultimate goal is merely another beginning, because now, with everything you have learned, you see beyond what you once believed possible. You see new heights, new horizons, new dreams that call to you. Success is not a finish line, it is a state of being. It is the relentless pursuit of growth, of purpose, of impact. Those who truly win do not stop when they reach their goal, they expand their vision. They turn their victories into stepping stones for the next adventure, the next challenge, the next revolution of who they are meant to become. So as you stand here, take a deep breath and let it all sink in. You did it. You proved to yourself that you are capable of more than the world believed, but do not let this be where your story ends. Use this moment not as a conclusion, but as a foundation. Set your sights on something even greater. And when the doubts creep in again, when the road ahead seems daunting, remember, you have already conquered the impossible once. You can do it again, because you are not just someone who dreams, you are someone who dares, someone who endures, someone who wins. And the world has only just begun to see what you are truly capable of. The moment you think you have arrived is the moment you begin to fall. Success is not a place where you settle. It is a force that must be continuously fueled, challenged, and expanded. The greatest mistake most people make after achieving their dreams is believing the work is done. But the truth is, the most dangerous thing you can do is become comfortable. History is filled with those who reach the pinnacle of their craft only to fade into irrelevance because they stop pushing forward. Empires crumble when leaders become complacent. Champions fall when they stop training like underdogs. Innovators disappear when they stop asking, what's next? The difference between those who remain legends and those who become forgotten stories is the ability to evolve, to seek new battles, to refuse the illusion of finality. Think of the greatest minds, the most resilient warriors, the visionaries who refuse to let success soften them. Elon Musk didn't stop after Tesla, he reached for Mars. Michael Jordan didn't retire after his first championship, he built a dynasty. Leonardo da Vinci never limited himself to one discipline. He mastered many. The secret of sustained greatness is simple. Never stop hungering for the next challenge. This is your moment of reckoning. Do you coast on what you have accomplished, or do you sharpen your mind, push your limits, and prepare for the next level? The universe does not reward stagnation. It rewards movement. It rewards those who seek, who question, who refuse to let their fire die. You are not here to simply be a success story. You are here to be a force of nature, to redefine what is possible, not just once, but again and again. So set a new target. Challenge yourself to dream even bigger than before. Chase something so audacious that it reignites the fear and excitement you once felt at the beginning of your journey. Because the moment you stop dreaming, you stop truly living. And those who stop living are already on their way to being forgotten. Let this be your wake-up call. Stay relentless, stay obsessed, stay in motion, because your greatest achievements are still ahead of you. The greatest illusion is that there is a finish line, a moment when you have finally made it. But the truth is, those who change the world never stop. The journey does not end, it expands. Every great dreamer, every revolutionary thinker, every unstoppable force in history understood this. The second you slow down, the second you let comfort replace hunger, you start to fade. But you are not here to fade. You are here to leave an impact so profound that generations after you will speak your name, not because of what you achieved, but because of the relentless force you embody. So what now? Now you step into the unknown once more. Now you challenge yourself in ways you never have before. Now you set your sights on something so grand that it terrifies you all over again. Because fear is a compass. Fear tells you that you are on the edge of something extraordinary. And those who dare to chase it are the ones who redefine reality itself. Think about the icons, the names that echo through time. Da Vinci, Tesla, Jobs, Ali. What made them different? It wasn't just talent. It wasn't luck. It was their unshakable refusal to stand still. They could have stopped at their first victory, but they didn't. They could have rested after the world applauded, but instead they asked, what's next? And now it is your turn to ask the same question. You have climbed the mountain. You have bled, fought, and endured storms that would have broken most people. But the summit is not the end. It is simply a vantage point for the next ascent. The moment you stop climbing, you stop becoming. The moment you stop reaching, you stop living. Understand this. True winners never settle. They never accept that their masterpiece is complete, that their work is done. They know that as long as they are breathing, they have more to give, more to create, more to conquer. So push forward with the same hunger that brought you here. Wake up with fire in your soul, knowing that there is still so much to build, so much to learn, so much to become. Dream so big it scares people. Dream so big it shakes the very foundations of the world around you. And never, ever stop. Because in the end, it is not about what you achieve, it is about who you become in the pursuit. And you, my friend, were never meant to be ordinary. You were meant to be unstoppable.